So today I want to talk to you about losing yourself to find yourself. And finding yourself is literally the ultimate of the ultimate, right? Because once you get to understand who you are, you'll know what to do with what you have and how to apply who you are to this world, how to add value, find your purpose, radiating your light, be the authentic version of yourself and bringing that to the world. There's no other fulfillment higher than that. But what happens is, right, we're in a world where it's encouraged, it's taught, it's programmed, you're in a hypnotic trance every day to not pay attention to yourself, to focus on what other people are doing, to be something else. And the conformity starts at a very, very young age. It starts way before you're even conscious of it. As soon as your parents put you in front of the TV, as soon as you walk outside and you start to see people, you're noticing the majority of the people are not being who they are. They are being versions of what they believe that they should be. And so it's very easy to lose who you are as a person and not be able to discover yourself because, parents, right? The last thing they want to do is see their children hurting. That's the last thing they want to do. And so the goal is, I want my child to have a good living. So at least go to school, get a good job so you can provide for yourself. So providing becomes a thing that most people are encouraging the people around them to do, which means don't develop who you are. Just focus on this and then worry about that later. And it's a very backwards way of thinking because it keeps people in this forever cycle where they're disconnected to themselves and constantly looking for happiness outside of them. And so what you want to do to avoid that, or how to get out of that, is to find yourself doing things that make you happy on a daily basis, right? Being able to discover who you are, stepping away from the crowd. What do I like? What feels good to me? And doing those things on a daily basis. But ultimately, what happens is, right, you find yourself in this cycle for so long that you feel like I've lost myself. And so that awareness is everything, right? Awareness is everything. That awareness of, and being able to admit to yourself, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. These things are not me. That's everything. Because now you know who you're not, so now you can discover who you are. And you can put yourself in an environment and put yourself in places where you're able to say, is this me? Yo, I like this. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do this every day. Or at least I'm gonna do this once a week. One of the things I love to do is go get massages. I don't have a bunch of friends that's yo, let's go get massages. I do have a lot of people, especially when I was living in New York, people say, yo, you going to that massage place? Yo, I want to roll with you. Or where that spot is at. I would bring a bunch of people there. But I realized for me, it was helping me release a lot of tension. And it helped me to recognize who I was. Another thing was yoga, doing hot yoga. Doing hot yoga, I started to become aware of my internal conversation. When I would hear that internal conversation that's give this shit up, I can't take it, this is too much. Oh, I can't stand this shit. That would be in my head, I'm in a pose and doing something and it's I'm burning, I can't even breathe, it's hot. And I started to become aware of that voice that I was hearing, that I was fighting. And I would just be yo, what is that? What is that voice? What is that voice about? And is that voice the real representation of me? But what happens is you have to be able to put yourself in environments that challenges you so you can be able to see what's the internal conversation going on, and is this me or is this a part of me? Is this a version of me? Is this something inside of me that made me that ultimately I learned, that I started to portray and project into the world as like a representation of me, but it's not truly who I am as a person. And so like once you start to go under that veil, you start to go under that voice, and you start to really discover like, yo, there's a deeper version inside of me, but you don't really get to experience that until you go to a different level with yourself and challenge yourself in a way where you're able to differentiate like, oh, this was just a voice, this was just an attitude, this was a persona, this was a behavior pattern that I picked up, that I owned, that necessarily wasn't who I am as a person. And so, but how did I even get to that place where I said, yo, I'm willing to do something different, I'm willing to do hot yoga? It's because I had reached a point where I realized all of these things that I'm doing is not me. It's not me. Like, I'm wrapped up in this cycle. I'm doing things. I'm running in the street all day. I'm doing all of these things that don't feel good to my spirit. I need to find something that resonates with who I am as a person. And so that's how I was even driven to hot yoga. And that changed my world, because it helped me to start to identify what I just said, that voice inside of me that I was operating in, that angry voice, that easily irritated person. And then that led to more things, but it was the consistency of doing something outside of my comfort zone that helped me to see who I was, so that I could discover myself on a daily basis, so I could do more to discover who I am as a person. Well, I'm gonna get some water, y'all. Ow! So discovering that voice is everything. You know, it's not until you have to be honest with yourself, though. You have to have this level of honesty with yourself where you say to yourself like, yo, listen, I'm not happy. All of that fronting, that acting like you happy when you know you're not, you're only hurting yourself. When you play in a game of like, nah, I'm good, and you know you're suffering. It's like in an AA meeting, right? They say people, I've never been in AA or Narcotics Anonymous, NA, right? I've never been in it, but I've spoken to, doing my coaching, I've been able to like connect to a lot of different people, and people would say some of the practices that I use is very similar to some of the things that they teach in AA or in NA. And one of the biggest things they tell you is like, you have to be able to admit to your addictions. You have to be able to like have that honest truth with yourself. Because as long as you're avoiding it, as long as you're not paying attention to it, as long as you're acting like, oh, it's not really real, then you'll never really address it. You have to be able to own the energy, own the feeling, own the reality of this is what I'm experiencing, and I'm not happy about that. That's when things start to change, when you're able to recognize like, yo, listen, this doesn't feel good to me. I'm living a fucking lie, you know? I'm doing something that does not feel good. And when you can start having those real conversations with yourself, you'll start to be able to see a real change, because now you're lifting off the weight, because you're holding this weight. You're holding a weight like, I have to be this, I have to be that, and I can't look like this, and I can't look like... All of that is unnecessary pressure, man. You don't need to give yourself that type of pressure. You're not exhibiting love to yourself. You're turning yourself into like a non-emotional robot. I have to be like this. I can't move. I got to do like this, and I can't break a smile. That's not going to help nobody. And it's damn sure not going to help you. And then it keeps you surrounded around people who are disconnected with themselves as well. And then you're wondering why you feel drained around the people that you're around, because you're not having real conversations with yourself. It's okay to be like, yo, listen, I don't like this. This doesn't feel good. I'm totally moving in a direction, in an environment that does not serve me. Great. Now that you say that, what do I focus on now? Let me go out there and find some things. Open up your mind. Free yourself. Give yourself the love you need to be the best version of you. And when you realize like you're not connected to yourself, do everything in your power to connect to you. Because you are all you have. And you are truly powerful. We all have extreme power in us, but when you're disconnected from yourself, you're not able to tap into your power. And that's where the problem is. The problem is not you don't know what to do. The problem is not I'm struggling with this. The problem is you're not connected to yourself. When you connect to your power, you'll be able to realize, when you connect to yourself, you'll be able to realize the power you have and connect to your purpose in this world.